Well, the two outside strings have been adjusted to their ideal action height, and both of them have been intonated. Now you can see the middle three strings are raised up. So what we're going to do now is we're going to match that fingerboard radius all the way across. Got to be careful because this is very low density foam. You don't want the string to actually push the gauge down, you just want it to touch. So I'm coming in for a real close look. I'm hoping the camera is picking this up. So I want to just about touch. I'm going to leave it a little proud because we have to do the intonation yet. Okay. Next string. Same thing. Equal turns on each of the two fasteners so the saddle stays level. That's good. Not touching, almost touching, but okay, so the D, same thing. Okay, that's close enough. I'm going to take that gauge out now, and I'm going to intonate all of these strings. I'm playing the B note, 7th fret of the E string, and then its octave. Ooh, okay. That's got to come way back. And I know that that has to be dropped because the string raises as you pull it back. So I'm going to do that now. Check that intonation again. Oh, you can live with that. Next string. Okay, that obviously has to come way back as well. Okay, let's check that. I'm also going to drop that down because it has lifted as we pulled it back. Still sharp. And we'll bring that down again. Still a tiny bit sharp. We'll try dropping that down and see if that gets rid of the sharpness. You know, that's close enough for now. We'll get this D string and then we'll put our radius gauge in and check it again. Yeah, it's quite a bit sharp. Bring that one back. And we will bring that down. Still sharp. A little bit further. We'll drop that down as well. Kind of debatable whether it's a matter of dropping the height or pulling the saddle back. I'm going to drop it just a little bit and see what happens. Okay, so that's close enough now that we can test our radius gauge again. We know the two outside strings are exactly in tune and exactly the right height. So I'm seeing if that actually touches, and it looks like this does touch a little bit. So I am going to raise it. So now what we do is we raise up those three middle strings again. Okay, so there we go. All 3 strings are clear of the radius gauge. You can see that this is very light density foam, and that's what you want. So the 2 outside strings are exactly where they should be. Intonation's perfect on those 2 strings, and the action is exactly where it should be. We have intonated those middle 3. We might have to touch them up again. Before I do that, I'm going to drop them down until they just about kiss that gauge. Good. So now we can remove that gauge for the last time and do our final touch-up on the intonation. That's good. Pull that one back. And now we'll drop it down just that tiny little bit. See if we can get that to behave itself. We are there with the intonation. So our radius is right on the money. Intonation's good all the way across. Now we're going to turn our attention to the nut. We've got to be uber careful as we open that up and lower it ever so slightly. Okay, next one. Okay, that is slightly sharp too. So we're going to open that one up as well. I'll lower that ever so slightly. So I'm checking this open string and then the first fret F. That's good. Oh, that's just the tiniest bit sharp. Perfect. I can hear some creaking there. A little dab of lithium grease on the string and underneath the string tree to see if we can get rid of that creaking. There we go. Okay, let's try that again. That did it. Yeah, the rest of the string trees seem to be okay. It was just that one that was really kind of grabbing. I think it's that extreme angle from the focal point on the nut slot down to that string tree. This one may be experiencing the same thing. We'll try it in a second. Well, it seems to be pretty good. Man, we are done. Which is just that one string that needed that little touch of lithium grease. So this is the wrap-up on Terry's 5-string jazz. When you look earlier in the video, the 5 saddles in the bridge were not anywhere near close to being intonated. They're all perfectly intonated now, and as you saw, we made this radius gauge for Terry, so this takes all the guesswork out. The radius is perfectly matched, and you know that you've arrived when you touch any one of these strings and you'll see that gauge move slightly. Terry will never have to wonder again whether the radius is right. It will always be right. I'll just throw that in the case. The pickup height needed to be adjusted as well because the action dropped down drastically from where it was. That is as close as the pickups ever need to be. So you play the highest note, and that's as close as the string will ever be to the pickups. Outside string, yeah, same thing. You can split hairs on this, move it up or down a couple of thou, but that's basically ballparking it. That's where it should be. Next, as you saw earlier in the video, this was the trouble spot here on the bass side of the fingerboard, those top 10, 12 frets. When you're doing the fret dress on a maple fingerboard, it's quite a bit more work because you need to mask the whole thing off. If it's rosewood or ebony, it's not that critical. But here you can see that it wouldn't take much to smudge up that beautiful finish. So ultimately, like I've said so many times before, if you do your job right, you should be covering your tracks, and it should look like the bass has never been touched. Once I had it all masked off, I went ahead and buffed out the whole length of the fingerboard. All of these discrepancies on the bass side at the top end here were taken care of, leveled, recrowned, and polished. And then I went ahead and polished the whole scale length end to end. This is much better than the day it was made. And he's gone with these Roto Sound jazz bass strings, 45, 65, 85, 105, and 130 on the bottom. And lastly, we touched up those nut slots so that the open string and the fretted first fret note are in tune all the way across. I did put that little dab of lithium grease underneath the string tree, just this one string, the rest of them are fine. And we are done. Done deal. I hope everybody learned something there. It is my wish that I have helped you in some way to maybe understand the procedure in setting up a bass. And if you feel that you have benefited in some way, shape, or form by this mini tutorial, for the first time ever, I am now able to accept thanks or super thanks. So if you feel inclined to donate to the cause, I would be most grateful. Thanks so much. We'll see you next time.